Hello, good evening
Hello and welcome.
to Luna the Druid
Yes. And Karma, who
and
really wants
Karma.
to say hello.
Hello, Karma.
Hello, baby. No kisses on live, please. Welcome to a very energizing, very fiery episode of Luna and the Druid, where we will talk about the element of fire. I already see some comments here. Claire saying hello. Suzanne saying hello.
Hello,
For some
Claire.
strange reason, I see the hashtags, not the names on YouTube, but it doesn't matter. It's Mercury retrograde in its full power. I've just experienced a lot of it before going live. My computer was switching off, nothing was working, and yet here we are.
Here we are. In good standing, good quality, and I hear you, I see you, and we're just fine. I think we're on fire.
Yes. Speaking of fire, oh my goodness, hello, Iron Fire Horse.
Hi, Horace. Great to
So
see you back.
long time no see. How
Yeah.
are you, my dear? It's good to see you back. It means whatever you've been going through, you're stronger now. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Tonight we will talk about the element of fire. Fire as the element out in Mother Nature. Fire as an element within ourselves, within our bodies, and fire as an element in tarot. Let's start with what fire means to you. And I would love to see some comments. What, guys, fire means to you? When you think fire, what is the first thought which comes to your mind? To me, it would be warmth, but also passion, transformation, transition, and inner power, creativity. Those would be the one for me. But what about you, Jan?
Yeah, to me, a fire and air are what we call the active, or gender biased, we could say the masculine elements. And so there you have this active traits, the dynamic of it, the transformative traits. Fire is a transformer. It transforms whatever it touches. So it's the element of willpower, action, passion, and spirit. And we see it as a bridge between the spiritual and the divine. You know, the divine flames rising upwards and going on the fire of inspiration, consuming physical matter to create heat, to create light. It embodies the drive to evolve, the courage to act, and the burning desire to connect with something greater than yourself. It's the I am presence in ourselves, the I am presence within, and it lives within.
Yes. Iron Fire Horse says warmth. Yes, burning passion. Suzanne says making a new path, transformation. Yes. Claire says passion of spirit, the inside glowing to be seen on the outside. In the words of the boss, can't start a fire without the spark. Oh, I love it. And I have another comment here from a fire. Iron Fire Horse means life to me. That is so true. That is so true. Fire transforms, purifies, destroys, and ignites. However, it's both sacred and dangerous. Fire teaches us boundaries, direction, courage, and authenticity. To me, it's the element of truth. It burns away all the illusion, reveals what's real. It's that spark someone here mentioned, that spark that gets you out of bed to win your passion, to win your sometimes desires. It's the courage that makes you move. And also we have a beautiful comment here, security. Yes, the comfort, the warmth. That connects and have been connecting people together, bringing communities together to sit around the fire, which is
Yeah.
actually still happening until these days.
Oh, absolutely. There's
Yes.
there's great. We have the great fires, the festivals, Burning Man, the Castle Fest, the big summer festivals, um, the fires of Bjeltena, the fires of Samhain in the hill of Ishnach in the middle of Ireland. So yes, fire is a bringer of change, is a bringer of purity, cleansing, transformation. Uh, yeah, like I said, it transforms everything it touches.
Yes, absolutely. So let's start with this fire and transformer. Obviously, you may hear some sounds in the background because my dog is today on fire. Usually she's asleep, but not today. So she embraces that energy. So you can hear her probably walking, killing her toys, and God knows what she's going to do. Fire as a transformer. Let's talk about that because fire destroys,
Yeah.
but to make space for something new.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like we have the fire in nature. We have the bushfires in the summer. The sun dries. The sun is fire too, of course. The sun dries the trees and dries the land. Then any spark can turn into a wildfire, a bushfire. Sometimes it's benevolent, so it's sometimes it takes away the undergrowth, and especially when it's not too dry, it can be good. Then it cleanses and makes place for new saplings to come up, and new trees and renewal of the forest. Um, that's something. We see it in Bjeltena in spring when the farmers send their cattle between two fires, the cows between the fires. That's to destroy all the bugs and the insects that are living in the cows' skins, and it's a purification factor. So, and of course we have the volcanoes. Don't forget the volcanoes. Destruction too. When you live nearby, when you live on a volcano and it erupts, it destroys the land. It clouds the sky, but definitely on the debris of the volcano, on the lava. That's when it's cold again and it's solidified again. It forms a very good ground for growing crops and stuff. So
Yeah, it
yes,
creates the land, absolutely.
absolutely, yeah. So
Um, what about you mentioned already purifying, and I'm interested in that. Let's go there and not bark straight to the microphone, please. Fire is a purifier,
yes,
just like you said. It burns away. It can burn away bacteria, old matter, stagnation. We
yeah, and
often smoke herbs to cleanse the energy.
yeah.
Um, Not to mention that fire, unfortunately, is being used by fires to regulate certain aspects of land as well.
Yeah, and then you also have, for instance, take for instance when you have when there's a disease or something, or a mold or something in the land. Fire is the big purifier there. It can purify the place that you live if it's under threat by bacteria or other invisible threats. The fire will clean it out, will make it sterile, but also make it ready for new growth and for renewal. And yeah, we see that in nature. Um, we see it, in the house where it brings the warmth, and therefore, when it brings the warmth, it has to transform and the wood and the coals and everything. Um, it heats boils our water, which is also an act of purification.
And check out this comment.
Yeah, some pine cones only open and release their seeds if a fire goes through the forest. Of course, that's the renewal of it.
Mm,
When the trees have been damaged or burned by the fire, the pine cones erupt, and yeah, new trees can grow.
I think of fire from spices to warm and nourish us, especially during winter, says Claire. Oh, absolutely. That's a beautiful aspect of the fire, of the warmth. When you were talking about that purification, the question
Yes.
which came to my mind is, what is in your life asking to be purified? A habit, a mindset, perhaps a relationship dynamic? What is calling you to be purified, cleansed, and perhaps burned? I think it's a good time of this year to just stop and ask yourself that question.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about the
Yeah.
sun and the solar fire? Because that's the source of all life.
It is. It is. And yeah, the solar fire is not necessarily the purifier. The solar fire is the bringer of light, life, warmth for growth, warmth for warming our house, our environments. Um, so there's yeah the sun is well the first people who became religious, they all worshiped the sun because the sun was the bringer of life. They saw the sun as their supreme being, their supreme god, and for a good reason.
Yes, ancient sun was worshipped, but the god of Ra was the sun in Egypt. The
Yeah,
god Rome. Misho, please stop. Romans cherished Sol, and Celtics cherished Lu. My neighbor's cat, his name is Louis, which means the bringer of light.
light,
But
yeah.
what I mean by this, that sun is a source of life. There is no photosynthesis without life, without the sunlight. All the plants produce oxygen, produce other nutrients to survive. And this is where life starts on Earth, with the energy of fire, with the energy of the sun.
That's
And
it.
we do carry inside of us that little piece of sun. It's our vitality, our confidence, our warmth as well. Solar plexus, which we're going to talk about
Absolutely, yeah.
a little bit later, definitely represents an inner fire. What about the lightning, the tower card, which we will talk about a little bit later,
Yeah,
perhaps.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, lightning is of course is fire, and it can hit trees. It can hit. Yeah, we recently saw a tree that was struck by lightning, and it can. You can even, when you're in a field and lightning strikes, you as a person can even get hit by it, and terribly wounded or even killed by it. So it's very strong. It's powerful. Um, it's a force of nature. It's one of the forces of nature. That's why it's also one of the elements. Of course, it's an important element because it's 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 also one of the elements that's necessary for our body to function. It's the inner fire, the solar plexus. Of course, we need the water, we need the air, and we need earth to solidify. But the engine of this all, the engine is fire, or the fuel is fire. Yeah.
Yes, and humans actually learned how to use fire and how to harness the fire through fires naturally caused by the lightnings. But why am I talking about the lightning? Because there is a big and important lesson we could learn from that energy, which is when you have a sudden idea that electrifies you, that's lighting the fire within you. That's lighting that passion, that inner spark Iron Fire Horse mentioned. This is that burning element which can drive an idea into action.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it does. That's why you said you already mentioned the solar plexus, which is the source of our inner fire. And that's where we find our passion, our life force, our strength to to do things, to manifest things, to really dive into to our passion and our purpose to get there. Yeah.
Look at this comment, because that's an interesting story. Iron
I've
Fire
been,
Horse says,
yeah,
okay, go ahead.
I've been pushed into the air by lightning, right off my feet, and made the most graceful landing through history. True story. A graceful landing after being lifted. Yeah, wonderful,
That must
wonderful.
have electrified you. Um,
Yeah,
it only makes me think how lucky you are to be alive.
to
And
be
there is
with us tonight.
definitely something else to be done here.
Yeah,
Last element of the element of fire, which I would like to quickly and briefly discuss, is that fire many of us have at this time of the year at home. Fire circles coming together as a community bringer, as a heart of the home. Fire allows us to cook, to keep ourselves warm. We used to gather around the fire, and certainly some people still do this up to these days, to gather with community, to just be, sing, hear stories, or simply just enjoy the warmth and connection it brings. So fire connects. Fire, to me, is that energy of unity and the heart, the shared warmth. And I certainly love to sit around the fire with friends or sometimes even people I don't know. At the festivals, fire is usually the most active area at some place, at some time, especially at night, where everything else goes to sleep. The fire brings people together.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It does. I remember these festivals where the fire was lit either on a beach or in a place where you were, and like you said, that was the hub of the festival. And even if the night then the night goes deep, we go into the midnight and beyond midnight, people sitting by the fire and forgetting time, forgetting that it's
Yeah.
time to go to bed. Life is just too good, and and we just enjoy our company. We enjoy the warmth. We enjoy the coziness. Fire is never boring. You can it you can be immersed in it. You can be under the spell of it. You look at the flames and the constant the dragon that's constantly burning there and it constantly changing. It's better than telly. It's less
Mm,
repetitive than television or whatever
absolutely.
you look at our screens or whatever. Yeah,
However, best stories here on Luna and the Druid, because Iron Fire Horse says computers glitches around me for years. And there is a beautiful comment from Claire here as well. I am picturing the sun card in the Wildwood Tarot. It shows a large sun behind a person who has a shining heart. There is abundance of life, plants and flowers, and the chalk horse in the background. Thank you for bringing that picture and in such a descriptive way. I love it.
yeah.
I like that card.
I have
Um,
to I have to take I have to take on my shelf here. Maybe I'll pick it up later and look up the
I
card.
would. It's literally behind me there.
Oh,
However,
you have it too there. Okay, perfect.
I can't move.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I can't. I'll
And Claire says here, so true. The time is irrelevant when we gather around fire. Ooh, Jan disappeared, but that's fine. So just to summarize, fire certainly comes from the outside world, with the wild world of Mother Nature. However, we have our own inner fire, inner engine, our power to act, transform, and choose. And I mentioned earlier the fire within the body. So first place which comes to my mind would be solar plexus, which is the one of the energetical centers, the center of will, identity, confidence, and boundaries.
yeah.
Um, It is important to have obviously all of our centers balanced and energy flowing. But when our fire is balanced, it gives us motivation, confidence, direction, sense of strong self. It gives us passion, sexual energy, drive, life force, connected more to sacral chakra. But this is that element.
Yeah.
If you feel like you have low motivation, you're doubting yourself, you have difficulties with making decision, you have no energy, you feel angry, impulsive, burnout, or over controlling, those are the signs that the fire within you is not balanced. It can be either underactive or it could be overactive and come up as rather difficult emotions.
Yeah. And there you get the connection with what I say, the fuel, because that's often represented in the digestive system. You know, when you're low, the digestive system is also not functioning correctly. When you're over hyperactive, it functions to a to too much extent. It's definitely this balance that we're looking even in our bellies. You know, the bellies where we burn the fuel next to the solar plexus
Yeah.
and the sacral chakra. They represent this fire part of ourselves, and yeah, that's right. When you yeah, go
When I
on.
was preparing to today, I've never thought of that aspect as digestion. So I did my little research, and that digestive fire is called Agni or Agnis, which reminds me of the Koshi bell, which
Yeah,
represents the fire element. However, this is the ability to digest foods, emotions, and experiences. And when the Agni is strong, we have that clarity, vitality, enthusiasm. But when it's low, it gives us that heaviness, confusion, and procrastination. And that's so aligned with what you said, because I can feel myself after a big, heavy meal when all I want to do is just on the couch.
yes,
Or when I have some food which has light in it, like fruits, salad, I could just spread my wings and fly. So definitely a really interesting aspect of looking at the
yeah.
fire.
Yeah, so it works both ways. It works both on the intake. So the intake, what kind of fuel do you use? Super fuel or diesel? You know, and it makes a difference. And of course um, your own mental state of mind makes a difference in how you digest as well. So they're definitely connected. They're definitely
Yes,
connected.
digestive system is responsible for nurturing our bodies,
Yeah.
getting what it needs. So the question here is, how do you nurture yourself? How do you nurture your own fire? How do you nurture your relationships? Because some people may burn too hot, some
Yeah.
people may burn too cold.
Yeah.
Something to reflect for sure.
And we will get back to it when we get to the cards, of course.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Another aspect of fire. You mentioned cards, so obviously creativity came to my mind. The
absolutely. Yeah,
creative fire, the passion, libido, life force, that spring of creativity within us from the same flame. And examples of it could be passion projects, like Luna and the Druid, for example. It came out of passion, passion of talking and
of course.
passion of
Yeah,
reading cards. Artistic births, creation, the moment when I get inspired and record meditation, to me, it's my way of my expressiveness and creation with creating. Obviously, sexual energy, as well as desire for somebody, but also desire to create something new.
yeah,
Because creativity is when fire takes a form. I really love this metaphor of fire.
Yeah. Yeah, and then from that rises, of course, the shadow side of fire, which of course is the destructive part, where we're angry, where we have anger, where we set ourselves alight, we set ourselves ablaze, or we set the environment ablaze. War, and all these aspects are fiery too. So uh, it's just not love. It's also, there's also a shadow side to fire. That's the destructive part. The and even in the emotional part, where we set ourselves alight and ablaze. Yeah.
However, I would like to stop demonizing anger, because in times of toxic positivity and good vibes only, anger is seen as something negative. And yes, if there is no control over it, it can be destructive, just like the fire. However, anger is one of the most important informations your body is giving you, that someone, something is crossing your boundaries, that you should say no. It pushes you to set boundaries. Sometimes, when you know how to use that and turn it into your strength and turn it into your fuel, this fire and this anger can make actually move you out of stagnation. And
Hmm.
yes, if we allow it to burn, if we don't control the way we are experiencing anger, can have destructive
Yeah.
destructive influence on others. But that's normal and natural. This is the same emotion, like happiness, like joy. It's just on the other side of spectrum. It's equally important, and it's can't be suppressed, because if it's suppressed, then it'll only erupt into something bigger, like a volcano. And one thing I want to add about anger, underlying emotion causing anger is always pain. So next time you see a person going angry about something, instead of judging them, just send them love, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they're experiencing in their life. And sometimes that anger is the first information that, okay, something's not right.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, Claire has a wonderful comment here saying, if I could only show it on the screen, that would be great. Yes. I sometimes have rage. I'm human after all. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because it's a human emotion. It's
Yeah.
my inner Taurus when I set the red flag, when I, sorry, see the red flag, if I get wound up over something. And
Yeah.
absolutely, please do continue doing so, because this is the information many people or creatures will understand as well, because this is that universal language of emotions. Certainly, my doggy, of course, she understands the way I speak to her, but sometimes she is so bonkers that the only way for me to get through her is to communicate in her language, showing her that, hey, you're crossing the boundaries. And I usually say her name with like a very strong, like I would be growling. Or I'm giving her information that, hey, Missy, it's enough. And she responds to that. And if I say things, she ignores that. Same with kids, I think.
Yeah. And Aya Firehorse says, I used to have a poster of a bear, and it said something like about anger starting with being scared. Yeah, completely correct. And the same goes for anger. Um, like you said, sometimes you have to let it out, but there's also a good part of owning your own anger. Not being responsive to outside influences, where you have to let the fire burn a bit inside. Sometimes we say, "Yeah, give me the wisdom to see when anger can be useful, and the wisdom to see when it's not useful, and then the strength to push it back." And yeah.
Yes.
So
This is
that's
what I've learned from a shaman friend as well. If you're angry, use that to fuel you up to move forward. And that was one of the most life-changing information I was given, because I have so much more understanding of the anger itself and how it can be used. Because anger is asking for direction, not suppression.
boom. There you said it.
Now, dear men, I want you to pay attention now. Dear women, because you and only you will know what I'm talking about when it comes to the fire within the menstrual cycle. How it is to ride a dragon of hormones, of desire going higher, lower, confidence, radiance, and at the same time experiencing complete opposites of that. Creative ideas flowing and flourishing, and on the other hand, being completely almost lifeless, full of pain, wanting to basically burn someone with their fire out of our mouth. So yes,
Yeah.
the ovulation, it's that peak fire energy. This is where woman gets the most magnetic. It's that elemental fire at work. What is your experience on that, Jan? I'm curious. How do you feel that fire?
I have in my life, of course, I've been with women. I've lived with. I live with women. I have 2 daughters and a wife, and I know about the menstrual cycle. I think women are so good at keeping that to themselves, what they go through, keeping these emotions inside. At least the ones that I knew, my own wife. It has never been too much of a problem for me. So yeah, kudos to the women in my life that were strong enough. And I know that sometimes they were in pain. Sometimes they, like you said, they were cooking inside, they were boiling inside, and I know that too. And of course, when you know it as a man, be cautious, be mindful about it. There's not much you can do. There's not much you need to do.
Wait a minute. I will stop you here. What do you mean there is not much you can do? Be loving, caring, kind. Be
That's my normal way of being. Yeah. But you're right. But I would say always be loving and kind, and always be caring for the ones you live with, and the ones that you surround yourself with. In any group, in any setting, I would embrace that part of myself. Yeah.
I am laughing. I was laughing because I saw Claire's comment, which says, "Leave me alone" or "Come here now." We are hot and we are
Yeah.
hot. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. That's hilarious. But yes, there is a reason why I called this hormone journey riding a dragon, because dragons obviously release the fire. Talking about dragons makes me think of my cards, because I have an oracle which connects with the cards.
Oh, wonderful.
And thinking about cards brings me to thinking about tarot and the fire aspect within tarot.
And I definitely want to get back to the remark of Claire. She talked about the Sun card in the Wildwood Tarot, and it's a lovely one. Look at it. To start the card section off with, the Sun of Life. Beautiful card. Yeah. The person's on fire. The heat's on fire. The horse in the background. A lovely and powerful card. Yeah, Claire, it's so very powerful. Oh, we switched sides. Oh, I'll put you back again.
Yes.
Cards. Oh, Jesus.
And this is a test for our beautiful community. fire. I think we mentioned that, but it's a text. How well you were listening. Claire, say nothing, please. Element of fire. What is the representation in suits? Which element and which suit represents the fire?
Yeah.
I think we mentioned it already, but we'll see if you've been
Yeah,
listening.
we'll see if they listened and if they know it, and maybe we
Yes,
should.
share in the comments.
Yeah.
Again, in tarot, this element has its representation, which talks about creativity, passion, mission, alignment, action taking, inspiration, so on, so on. Yay! Well
Susan,
done, Suzanne.
Susan,
Once,
thank you.
absolutely. This
The
is the
magic
element
wand.
of fire.
Yeah.
I see you're very eager to talk about it. Go for it.
Okay. Wands. Magic wands. This is a good representation of the Ace of Wands. Uh, why is it a good representation of the Ace of Wands? It radiates fire. There's lightning there. There is a fiery wand there, and there's even, uh, if you count them properly, you see that there's 10 flames. So in the Ace of Wands, the whole suit of wands, all the other ones are represented. So the
Yes,
Ace of Wands
yes.
represents the energy of the whole suit. It's the it's the it's the start of the manifestation of the whole suit. And the suit of wands tells a story, of course, a story of a choice, of a crossroads you're making, and you're making a decision of, and this is a decision. As you can see, the card's called Dominion in the Thoth Tarot. So it's your own decision. You are in charge of your decision making process. I love for this card. I always say this is a card for an entrepreneur, for someone who's starting up their business, deciding that one, and then yeah, bringing all your virtues, bringing all that you have to the table, and and set out on a journey and go for the first returns. And the first returns feels like the first part of you're completing a cycle. You're going through a cycle. What I love about this card actually is that the completion is the circle, is going full circle, and we can also see you're not supposed to be there because like the comfort zone, the circle can represent the comfort zone too. The grass is greener on the outside. The grass is greener on the outside, and when you are on the journey, you're working on your career, you're working on your passion project, you get your setbacks in the Five of Wands, the strifes, the competition, the ones that stand in your way, the ones that try to drag you down, and you're not taking that shit anymore, because in the Six of Wands we secure the victory. And the victory means yes, you're on the road, you're getting there, and you're turning all these things that you're doing, whether it's your career, your passion project, a piece of art you're creating, a business you're creating, you're making this happen. Will it always stay this way? No, there's always setbacks, and there you need courage, you need valor, you need to stand up for yourself and bring in your lion energy, and stand up for yourself, go against the odds, and make sure that you're moving on. And when you're moving on, you will see that things are speeding up. When you really focus on your career, you go all in the Seven of Wands, the Eight of Wands. Swiftness is the energy saying, okay, with our communication, Mercury, with our Sagittarius energy, um, we're speeding up the process. We're taking action, and we're doing this. And then we find our inner strength in the Nine of Wands. We connect the warmth of the sun with the moon in Sagittarius, and we set our boundaries, and that's necessary, because if we're not, we might take it a bit too far and burn out ourselves. And that's the story of the 10 wands
Yes.
from 1 to 10.
Did you
And you could
notice
tell a
that I
different story there, but it's I like this lovely energy that the toss brings with its keywords and the progress that you go from the spark, the idea, to completion, where you say, okay, did I do too much? Maybe you did, or maybe it's time for some help.
Did you notice Hanyan fired up the moment he started to talk about tarot? Like there was even not a chance for me to jump in and add anything. I'm just
It's your
curious
time now.
for those who are reading tarot professionally or just for themselves. Write in the comments, please, which cards related to fire is your favorite and why? And Claire says, what a fantastic way to express this suit in tough. You don't get the same energy in other decks. Correct. I
Absolutely,
agree with that.
absolutely. I agree.
Um, what is interesting about combinations between the cards, some cards will talk about destructive aspects of fire, and some cards will talk about boosting that fire. For example, Ace of Wands with Eight of Wands will represent that fast, exciting beginnings, things moving, flowing, going quickly. But if, for example, Knight of Wands would be paired with the Tower, that would suggest that reckless behavior can cause destruction. So it's really important to look what other cards are surrounding the element of fire, because that can give you more information.
Yeah.
Have you got court cards there as well?
Yes, of course I have. We have the four court cards. Of course, we have the princess, which is the page of wands. The page of wands, as you can see in the toss, we have balance between the masculine and feminine names. We see much modern decks. We see the page of wands also represented as a female. In the toss, it's princess and princesses where we start. So the princess of wands um, uh, has this reckless energy too, because she's in this case she's running away from home, steals the cat, and and leaves on the flame of inspiration. So there is this will to inspire, this will to break out of the mold, to the will to break out of the prison that her parental family often represents. It's about breaking free, and she has a brother that brings a similar energy, with his Leo energy, and breaking through the barriers as the Prince of Wands. Um, so these two are definitely youngsters that are really really rebels and rebelling against their upbringing, rebelling against um, anything that's holding them back, and going for already on a young age, heading off for passion and purpose. And I love that energy. And that's not easy with a mom like this. As you can see, she keeps the cat firmly under control, and she's very controlling, loving, but fierce and controlling. So where do they have this freedom from? Well, they have it from their dad. That's the Knight of Wands, and as this is the last card of the minor arcana in the Thoth Wands suit, you see that the Knight of Wands is carrying the Ace of Wands in his hand. You see? So there's a beginning and the end, and in both cards we see the Ace of Wands, and the Knight of Wands just represents action, action without overthinking things. It's fire of fire. There's no air there. There's no sense there. It's passion. It's fiery. It's the horse is of course a stallion. It's their sexual drive. All that is represented in this Knight of Wands.
Mhm.
The
Which
war.
is normally it's a king, isn't it? The knight.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing in the toss because we also have princes, and princes are like the kings in the regular tarot, uh, in a seated position. So the princes more or less represent the young kings, and the knights will represent the knights, but then as a more mature version of themselves. So there's a bit of a learning curve when you move from the traditional tarot into the thought. The court is a bit of a step in a different direction. So don't compare them too much. The one that's the most close to home is the queen, because that's always the queen. The other three have different names or different positions.
Well,
That's the
Claire,
lady in red.
I love Eight of Wands in Rider-Waite-Smith. It's raw and nothing but wands in the foreground. No people, a bit like Marseille. And Jan, which is your favorite?
In the one suit,
Yeah.
in the minors, that would probably be the four of wands, the completion, and I'm definitely someone that it's not necessarily the comfort zone is not necessarily a book meaning. It's someone that my own intuition brings into this card, and I'm someone who loves to break out of the comfort zone. I throw away the comfort zone altogether, together with the box. Thinking out of the box, we don't do that. We throw away the box. That's what this card also represents. And of course, for once, can also mean a celebration or a marriage or whatever, which is also
Coming home, stability,
yeah, yeah.
beautiful aspect of the warmth of home, the
Yeah.
fire.
That's what we see in the circle. But I love to look at the whole card and see that outside the circle there's possibilities too.
Yes.
It's a different
Mine,
deck, so you can have different views on it. Yeah.
I definitely like Four of Wands. I like Eight of Wands as well from the action passion. I
In the in
love
the
Ace
in the
of
regular.
Wands.
Yeah.
I have my private meaning for Ace of Wands as well, which
Hmm.
when it represents a man or a relationship, we call it a D card. And I think you can get where the D
Yeah.
comes.
There was some confusion about this word, about that D
You
word.
don't say that word anymore here. Yes. What
Yeah.
about Major Arcana?
Major Arcana. Yeah, I have some Major Arcana cards too, and we
Yeah,
can we
you
can.
mentioned the sun already, which is
Yeah, of course, the sun is there. If we go
yeah,
to the astrology, we have the major arcana cards that are related to their zodiac signs. And then we start, of course, the first fire sign in the zodiacal year is Aries. And Aries is the emperor, stability, fire. But you see the fire in the color of the card. The emperor is on fire. It's a very fiery card. He reaches this position. Many emperors like Napoleon and Charlemagne were the ones who weren't crowned by others. They did it. They put up their own crowns. They are the kings of kings. It requires a lot of fire to do that, to get into this position.
Claire. Just to
Um,
answer your question, Jan is forbidden to say the word discs or decks.
Dex in with an Australian accent,
We don't go there anymore.
or South African accent. Yeah.
Yes, moving on.
Moving on to the second one, and there we have strength. In the Toss Tarot, the card is called Lust. I have the original card here as well on the table. In both cards, we see a lady taming a lion. In the Toss card, the the fiery aspect comes way more up front, because this is a card of willpower. Do what you will shall be the whole of the law, and do what you will doesn't mean do what you want. No, act according to your will, act according to your purpose. And this is what the Babylon, the goddess in this card, does. She has, as you can see, there's all kinds of characters there that try to influence her, but she holds the reins herself very, very fiercely in hand, and her nudity is not vulnerability, it's strength. It's I don't care, I don't mind. I'm
We're
I'm
going to get
I'm on
so
the roll
pumped
here.
because of this episode. Can you think of another card?
Yes, of course. Temperance, and in TOS we also have a temperance called as art. The logo below there in the temperance card is the sign of Sagittarius, the sign we're in right now, a fire sign again. So it's finding this balance, this fine balance uh, between going all in and or temper your ideas. In the Thoth Tarot, the card has a more alchemical aspect, so it's burn to transform. There's a lot of transformation in this card. And there's more transformation in the cards when we go to the card that represents the planet Mars, the planet of fire. The tower, talked about. Lightning, destructive eyes, snakes, things falling to pieces, uh, the burning, the burning coming from the earth. We have many legends where towers are destructed. The Tower of Babel, the Tower of Wales, of Vortigern the king, that was destructed by knights every day. Um, so or by dragons actually. So fiery card tower. We have still two to go. The one that was mentioned before, the sun card, very sunny card, a happy card. This is the benevolent, the good part of the fire. You know, the easy part. The tower is a good card as well. Only thing is when you're in the middle of the tower process, it's a bit more challenging. And then there is a lesser known card for fire, because this is the elemental card of fire itself. So we have zodiac, 12 zodiacs. We have 7 planets in the major arcana. That's 19. And so we also have 3 cards that represent an element. That's the Fool for air, the Hangman for water, and Judgment, or in the Thoth, the Eon for fire. And there's no earth because earth is all around. We say in the Golden Dawn, fire, judgment, the last judgment when the earth gets destroyed, and an army of an army of zombies rises out from the graves and marches over the world that's being destroyed, to 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 get to a new eon, to a new time in life, or a new time in history.
I want to bring another card to the picture
Be my guest.
where fire turns into obsession, addiction,
Yeah.
misdirection, desire. That's the devil, even though not
The devil,
necessarily
yeah.
connected. I see it
No,
as a
no.
very fiery card for the character because the devil can be destructive, just like
Yeah,
fire. The
absolutely.
devil can talk about overly obsessions, too much of the drive, especially physical drive as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and the devil, of course, devil related to Capricorn, so that's an earth sign, but absolutely agree with that. There's fiery elements there especially in the card meaning and the card descriptions, uh, and even I think even in the Rider-Waite-Smith, the devil would have fire in the background. The devil, the devil, the biblical devil, which was which was inspiration for the devil card, lives in hell, which is
Claire
which is the
says
fire pit. Yeah.
the devil holds a wand of fire as well in some decks.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, so just to summarize, what we could learn from the fire. Perhaps it would be good to sit with a candle, or next or close to the fire if you have fireplace in your home, and ask yourself, where is your fire too low? Where is your fire too strong? What passion is calling you right now? What needs to be burnt away? And what spark is trying to ignite within you? Perhaps I'll drop these questions into the description box, because that's actually a really good journaling prompt as well.
Yeah. And last but not least, what I was doing with this candle before I burned it, I scratched some things that had meaning for me. I scratched some runes in the card. I did the fihu, which is wealth and richness and prosperity. And in this setting, as candle magic, you're not burning it. You are sending your wish. You're sending your intentions into the universe. We did a lot of burning pieces of paper, which is transforming them. In candle magic, you use it as an affirmation, actually.
Yes. So remember, fire is our inner truth. When you honor it, you step into your full power,
You
passion,
do.
and purpose. But when you allow it to burn you, you may end up on rather destructive side of it.
Yeah.
And Clary says, our home is our hearth, the home fire, is our home. Hestia or Vesta is whom I give thanks to. Oh, that's beautiful. The goddess of home fire.
Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you for bringing her into the picture tonight. So, dear friends, we have some announcements to be made.
Do we?
Yes. Because I'm experiencing certainly a low fire within my life, and my energy wants to withdraw. We decided that we deserve a break, a holiday time, a holiday period where we will just rest, go within as the nature intended. So for the next couple of weeks, we decided not to go live. However, we keep this space open. Perhaps we will get inspired to record a reading, certainly Christmas wishes. But for now, we want to allow ourselves and blow our fire into different directions. But we'll be back within
Absolutely.
the element of the earth when the season of the earth will start.
Yep.
So press the notification button if you haven't already, so you wouldn't miss out any communication from our side. And it's been a wonderful year shared with us. It sounds odd to talk about the entire year when it's still November. However, with some of you, we may not see each other for a couple of weeks. So I want you to start looking at the year 2025 and see how the fire helped you. What was the destructive aspect? And find time to answer the questions which I asked before. And again, you will find them in the description box very soon after this live. And Yulitude blessings, says Claire, to everyone. We'll always be grateful to you both and the community here. Absolutely. I can't find words to express my gratitude to you, Jan, to you guys who show up, support us, and gather at the Luna and the Druid fire just to share some passion, some time. And to me, I'm the most grateful for the time you give us, because time is something which cannot be returned or taken back. And you choosing to be here with us means the world to me, for sure.
Yeah. And thank you, Luna, for all your inspiration, your lovely words, your kind words. to me and to all our viewers every week again. And wishing you a blessed Yuletide as well, and a blessed introspective time for both of us.
Yes. Stay warm, guys, and we love you. See you soon.
Bye.